This is your co-host chat in the Company of Charity podcast.
That's right.
My name is Sister Liz Schoberg.
And my name is Sister Elizabeth Grime.
And we are here. We're doing this new adventure.
We're learning.
So
it's a learning
welcome
curve.
Everybody. If you feel free to comment, send a shout out to us. I'm going to try and follow this on Facebook myself so that I can see the chat. I can see that we're already live. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm choosing not to follow along. I'll catch it later.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Sister Elizabeth, tell us, this is kind of somber times right now. Am I right?
You know, a couple of episodes ago, I think I had said, it was right around the time, when places were closing down because of the coronavirus. And it was pretty scary, and it's been really somber. But in the midst of this, we've also had death in our community, incredibly significant loss for the Daughters of Charity around the world. We've made vows. We've renewed our vows in the last month, actually in the last 3 weeks, right? Yes. So it's been really really different times for us. So we thought that we would just take tonight to kind of talk about some of that, and I'm sure any Daughter of Charity who's listening, has kind of felt the pain and the absence and the awkwardness of the last few weeks. So what are you thinking about this, Sister Liz?
Well, I just feel like we're in this bizarre time, and I think most dioceses don't have public masses at this point, and our diocese follows suit. And so renewing our vows in the house, in our little chapel, was extremely different, but it had its own sort of sacredness, I would say.
Yeah, what was interesting to me was I was thinking, that our vows are private, so we wouldn't typically, even if we were at a mass in a parish, we wouldn't pronounce them out loud. We say them silently because they are private, and they're always kind of a little hard for other people to understand exactly what we're doing, because we renew our vows. We actually retake them, I guess, is, the first time we take them, we know we're going to renew them, we hope, for the rest of our lives. But each year, every Daughter of Charity around the world renews her vows, renews her commitment or baptismal promise to follow Jesus and serve him and people who are poor, and to live in community with her sisters. And all of that is important. But this year, I think it was really very trying because we were separated from one another, other than those we lived with, separated from our church in a physical sense, even though I think most of us either had a communion service or some kind of service at home, and able to renew our vows during either a televised mass or some kind of service, which is very different. But it reminds me of our sisters who are in areas where mass is not available to them all the time. So we're just in territory that's not familiar to us, But I think the other part that was really, really difficult was we make a retreat. Typically, we try to make retreat the day before so that we've had a period of quiet and silence before we renew our vows, time of reflection. And this year, that day was a really sad day. The Tuesday before we renewed vows was the funeral, or the kind of service for our Superior General, Sister Kathleen Appler, who passed away quite tragically, young, wonderful leader of our community. And that was the morning they had the memorial service. And so I know our house did, many of our houses tried to be in solidarity with our sisters in Paris. So at different times, we were all trying to be with them. We got up at 9 and, had our service at 9 o'clock to be in solidarity with them. Oh, it was really sad. It was really sad. A lot of emotion,
And I don't know if we mentioned this before, but Sister Kathleen Appler was an American, and the first American Superior General of the Daughters of Charity, which is in itself astonishing.
Yeah.
but with the situations as it is and has been over in Europe with the coronavirus and everything, they were not able to do everything that you would normally do for a funeral mass. And I think, I guess how fitting in a way to go out of this world in the most humble, quiet, reserved way, where only the sisters of the mother house who were physically present could be present for the ceremony.
Yeah, it was, but also the feeling that we could be there as well in prayer, I think, and that very very Kathleen like. Sister Kathleen was just a very humble, very simple, really simple person, and she's from Utica originally, so there was a lot of emotion around here. I was saying to you, Sister Liz, earlier that when I first moved here almost 3 years ago, I was in a Walmart and a woman came up to me and said, "Do you know, are you a daughter of Charity?" And I said, "Yes, yeah, I am. Hi," and I mean, the daughters have been here since like the 1800s. So it wasn't surprising to me that she would have recognized me as a daughter of Charity. And she said, "Do you know that your superior is from Utica?" And I was thinking first about visitatrix, and I realized, oh, she meant Sister Kathleen, Appler. And I said, "Oh, yes, I do." Oh, she's so wonderful. And, she had taught here for many years at Our Lady of Lourdes Parish. And she's from this area. She went to school here. Actually, one of the sisters in my house, Sister Paula Gallant, taught her in high school. And I've just really been touched by the depth of the emotion. I mean, these folks here knew her as a kid in the neighborhood. They knew her as a sister. They knew her as a teacher here, ways in which I did not know her. I've only really known her as the Superioress General. I didn't know her before that. So it was really interesting. And I've said a couple of times that I thought one of the hard things was that because we could not celebrate in church, because all the churches were closed, that the people here have had no way to really mourn her loss.
Right.
They really didn't have any way to gather around the spirit of their hometown hero, and so there'll be a planned memorial service, I'm sure, when this crisis is over. But you just realize, I know, on Facebook you see a lot, and on different things, like, we come to realize the church is the body of Christ. It's us, not the building.
Right.
But you also realize that in the end, that is where the body gathers, and we couldn't gather anywhere. And the communal sense of the church coming together to mourn together and really express their sense of loss, they were not able to do that. I felt kind of sad about that. So, we've reached out to some people in the community and reached out to her family who are still around here. So yeah, just sad, really sad.
There was some really beautiful tributes to her, and one of my favorites is our Superior General, Father Tomasz, who wrote a beautiful letter to her after her death. And one of the cool quotes we have right here that I printed out, because it's just when you are working with somebody and you share that same spirit, there's something different that unites us as a Vincentian family, with our brothers and and our sisters who follow Vincent and Louise. And I just thought it was really beautiful. He said to Sister Kathleen, "You have been and you will be for me the model of someone who lived to the fullest the virtues of simplicity, humility, and charity. I have always appreciated your support, deep collaboration, and closeness. I like how you always ended your letters, united in prayer." I mean,
yeah.
Would that people say that about us after we die? Amazing.
Yeah, she's definitely an intercessor for us now, and a model of the virtue of simplicity and that Daughters of Charity live, and humility, and charity. I mean, all of them. She lived them well. I just have to say one other blessing we had was she had come back to the States after long battle with cancer, couldn't come home for quite a while, finally was given the okay to come home just recently, like right after Thanksgiving. And so we were able to see her, the sisters in my house, who are all from the province that she was part of initially. And so they have really deep roots with her. And so it was such a delight to see her, and her family was with her. And of course, we didn't know this would be the last time we would see her. So we really cherished that time that she was able to come out to our house and visit with us while she was home with her family. So just another kind of gift, from God and from Sister Kathleen, that she, found the time to do that and to see us here. So
Utica, New York,
Utica,
everybody.
Yeah. Utica's a great place. It's a really good place. Yeah. So, but we know we're
Kathleen, pray for us, please.
Oh, pray for us.
For our fidelity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I do want to.
She is.
Yeah, we're totally blessed, and I think that it's kind of indicative of the way things are right now, where this sorrow can be mixed with joy and comfort and the peace of knowing that even in death we're united by something greater.
And she would want us to live in the joy. I mean, so that's why I was saying that the significance of celebrating her life on a day when we were all reflecting on our own lives as Daughters of Charity. And then the next day to go into renewing our vows. I mean, how perfect is that to do that on a day when we're remembering someone who was so powerfully a great example. So I know she would want us to live in the joy of that, and carry on, in her spirit, certainly, and in the spirit of Vincent and Louise that she lives so well. So we carry on into the silence
into the
of
unknown,
the virus,
if you will.
into the unknown. Yeah.
Shout out to our previous podcast episodes where Sister talked about Frozen 2.
Oh yeah, it was great. And I know. Yeah, we're definitely into the unknown. Those who are discerning, watch that movie. It's totally some of the music in there. It's a great vocation.
There's some pretty good God parallels there.
I think so.
I also want to say hello to Denise McCrae, who's watching. She said I went to St. Vincent School in Santa Barbara. How about that?
All right.
Yes, we know the sisters out there of the province of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton.
That's right.
I in my heart call them the province of the West, but
it probably will forever.
But they are wonderful sisters. There are dear friends out there.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful place, man. Those sisters, they have a nice view out in Santa Barbara, California.
They do, yeah.
Speaking of the joys of this time, yes. I just wanted to share with you and to hear from you about the joys of Zoom conference calling.
Oh my God.
How's that going?
It's great. We just had a Zoom. My brother will kill me if he's actually watching this. If not, he'll see
He won't listen, don't worry.
I have two brothers. One of them knows how to use Zoom, the other does not. So we decided we were going to get all of my nieces and nephews, my brother and sister together. Mm-hmm. Well, my one brother, we thought we had a little practice run like a week or so ago where he couldn't get on. We just couldn't figure out. Then we had to try to walk him through it. Finally he got on, but we couldn't hear him. And it was so pitiful. This time we thought we had it. It was going to be fun. There's always going to be one in the group who can't figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, my nieces and nephews, they're all like in the same house, but in different rooms. So they're like running to each other's rooms and so I'm thinking they have it all together. And there's my brother who keeps texting me, I'm not on yet. I didn't get the link. I'm like, send it again. I didn't get the link. Send it. I said, did you check your email? Is this the right email? Oh, I was checking my text messages.
Oh, God. No.
you. Oh my God. I said, we're just so old. I just kept saying, don't embarrass your children like this, you know. It was sad. Yeah, and then of course he couldn't. It was like, you know, the camera was showing the lights in his ceiling, and it was just crazy.
Yeah. We have some staff meetings now via Zoom. All of our classes are on Zoom.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get people to mute themselves when they need to mute themselves rather than being like, hey, what's up? You know, you're hearing the kids in the background.
Yeah.
Too much extraneous noise. It's really something.
Yeah. And I keep thinking these people, you know, they say they're trying to like hack into your Zoom and it's not safe. I'm like, who wants to hear our conversations? You know, I'm sure there's somebody out there talking about really, really important things. But generally speaking, you know, it's like crazy stuff like that. Like nobody can't figure out who's on, who's not. They're all talking. And so I'm like, you know, have at it, hackers. I don't know what you think you're getting this. It's crazy stuff out there for sure. You know, but we got this down. We're good.
We're doing great.
I think we are. Yeah.
all the Facebook people watching. Hello.
We're how many? Right now. Don't tell me.
We're up to at least double digits.
Oh, and that's nice. That's nice. Hello out there, double-digit people. It's awesome. Yeah.
But you know, it is something strange to walk outside and to feel like you're afraid of other people.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to get near them because you don't want to give them anything, and then you're like, but do you have it or do I have it? Because nobody knows.
Nobody knows, right? Am I
you could have it right now. We wouldn't know.
I know. Yeah, we don't.
I don't.
And so you're like sitting in the house and somebody coughs and you're like, oh, get out of the community room, you know, put your mask on, you know. So we've got masks, we've got people making masks, but now you can't find any elastic, like to stick the thing over your ear. So we're watching all kinds of videos on how to use rubber bands. And, you know, so I asked one of the women who was making them to make smaller ones. We put them on all the kids, you know, which they thought was pretty cool. But it's just crazy, you know. And I think I had shared in, you know, one of the intros to podcasts earlier was, you know, our refugee families. I've been trying to send them things. I've been finding things like on the CDC and a couple of other refugee websites of things in different languages, Arabic, Burmese, and Kiswahili for the most part, and sending them out, you know, and making sure they read them. And so they'll, you know, sister, we can't go out. I'm like, no, you can't. You need to stay home. And so when we were trying to figure out how to work with the kids, because originally we thought we could bring them to our center, just like one family at a time, and then they shut down the whole city or the whole state, really. So we were able to get some tablets and things like that and sent them, you know, brought them to them and said, okay, here, hook yourself up with your teachers, and the kids can do it. They have no problem, right? They're getting on Google Classroom, iReady, all the different websites that they use, and the parents have no idea. And, you know, I'm like, I don't know, just let them work on it. I don't know how this is supposed to work, you know? So it's been pretty interesting stuff to watch people try to adapt, you know.
And you guys, I mean,
6 feet away in a like grocery line, and
it's serious business up where you are.
It is. And that's why, you know, we were saying just tonight, I mean, having this conversation, it's almost hard to laugh about anything when things are just so sad, you know, and things are so difficult. But at the same time, you realize you can't let the despair take over, you know. I was doing a little Bible kind of Lenten reflection with a group in Georgia, Facebook. I mean, on Zoom, it was great. They all knew what they were doing, got on, no problem. And, you know, I was just saying, you know, this is, you know, and they were talking about how do you just not fall into the despair of the time. And so, you know, I mean, clearly think about the time that we're in. I mean, this Holy Week is a time when, you know, we think that, you know, the joyous celebration of Jesus coming into Jerusalem, right? Palm Sunday. But we know that Jesus knew what was coming. I mean, he was not walking into, you know, the best of situations. He knew what was coming for him. And so we know that that was also a scary time, that it was something ominous was going to happen. And let's be honest, I mean, they end up hiding a lot, these guys. They're like hiding in the upper room. They're, the Last Supper wasn't done out in the open. When you even think back to the time of the Passover, people were hiding in their homes until the pestilence went by, until the plague goes by. And so, we are in many ways living out those biblical moments of hiding at Pentecost. I was saying that I can't wait till Pentecost comes, because if we're out of all this, I'll say, I can understand now why during Pentecost, when the apostles came out, everyone could understand what they were saying, because like now, everyone in the world will understand what we're talking about. Everyone in the world will have in some way experienced this isolation and this hiding away from this, disease that's coming at us, and so no matter what language you speak, people will understand this. It was just a kind of really interesting. I thought, well, that's the whole point, maybe, is that even in these difficult times, that Jesus, God, has not abandoned us by any means. In fact, he's already walked the walk, so we know how to put the footprints in front of us. All those images kind of come back to you and say, that's where all that comes from. Jesus is here. He knows what we're doing. He knows what's happening. He knows we're scared. But he's saying over and over, watch, look, all of the joy, the entrance into Jerusalem, even the resurrection. Jesus didn't rise completely healed, right? The glorious body had wounds.
The wounded,
the wounds are still there. So but we'll be okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to suffer. It's going to be sad, but we'll continue on with God's grace and with His strength. We got to believe it. We just got to believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been pretty moved everything online at this point, so we can't have any participants or clients come to our center. So just to review, I'm down on the border in Texas, Brownsville, Texas, and working with the community down here. And people can't come physically to our place, but yet we got 3, 4, or 5 phone calls, people wanting to drop off food to us because we know who needs the food. It's not like, okay, we're just going to give food out on this corner and anybody who wants it. Well, there are those people who may take, but they don't really, really need. And for people to come and trust our staff and our agency to say, no, we know that you guys know who really, really needs it. And, we have checkpoints now where the police are stopping people and saying, are you essential? Show me your letter that you're an essential employee, or that you're going to get food or going to the pharmacy or whatever. And we have, some undocumented folks who are afraid.
Oh, I bet they're terrified.
They don't want to go even shopping for the things that they need because they're afraid if they get stopped, then that's going to be an opportunity to have the police question them about their status. And that's terrifying.
It's got to be terrifying. I can't even imagine.
We have people who have 4, 5, 8, 9 kids, or people in their house, their own kids, but that's aunt and uncle. And, it's a lot. And I'm just, we've had the grace of being able to deliver food to some people. And I just don't know. It's a powerful experience. And, Sister Phyllis, who lives in this local community as well, she was able to go out, and she's the CEO of the place. And, she took that time and went out with our staff to deliver food. And they apparently went to one house, and the woman wouldn't open the door because she told them that one of her family members had the virus. And so she didn't want to even open the door at all to them for fear of exposing them. And
Oh, yeah.
and just to say,
Yeah.
but we're just going to leave this right here at your door. We're
Mhm.
not even gonna, you don't even have to open it until we're gone. And it's really something, I have to say.
Yeah.
And we talk about how we follow a crucified Lord. I mean, I think we're living it. And the grace, at least part of it in my reflection, is that God chose to come to be united with us, not just, for kicks.
Yeah.
He came, and he came and went to the end of God forsakenness and endured all of our suffering and trials so that we could say we have a God who knows what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how blessed is that? That's what I mean. You kind of say that's so amazing, that we can see in the face of others, we can see in what's happening to ourselves, that God is present right there. And that God was present before. He's present in every strife, every struggle that humanity has ever seen. This one that we're living through is one, I mean, we've lived through 9/11 as well. We've lived through so many different kinds of struggles. And in some way, somehow, we continue to find that God has been present there. God has been there before we got there,
Yeah.
and that he's waiting there to comfort us, to give us strength, to remind us that, resurrection, transformation, the cross, is not just a weapon of torture. It's a place of transformation, that we get to the resurrection through the cross, and that we shouldn't be afraid of it. Don't have to necessarily always lean into it either, but
Right.
to know that God is there, just again, another story of, bringing a woman who is pregnant, just kind of discovered for herself. I mean, obviously she knows that she's pregnant and made arrangements to go to an OBGYN clinic. And she had called. She doesn't speak a lot of English, but was able to get a translator to help her. So she had an appointment. Well, the clinic is in the hospital. And so we're not allowed in any hospitals. And so I took her to the appointment, had to stop, right at the front door, only one door of the hospital open. And I just had this anxiety, I'm used to going with them and kind of, just being a support, being there if they get stuck and the interpreter doesn't show up, how to help. And, but she had to go in by herself and trying to explain to her and write her a note that says, say you have to go to the OBGYN clinic and you have a 1 o'clock appointment and call this number, my number, when you get done. I was no sooner out of the parking lot that the nurse from the clinic called and said, she's kind of scared. They did have an interpreter over the phone, but she wanted to know if you would stay with her. And so I pulled back in,
didn't you? You went in.
I couldn't go in. So I literally stayed in my car on the phone for like an hour and a half. And they just kept me on the phone. And every once in a while I would just say, well, I know you're doing okay. And then the nurse would say, well, sister, we're walking to the sonogram now. And so I was able to hear when she found out that she's having a baby girl. And
oh my gosh.
But on the phone. And I thought, this is odd. But, I thought, well, you can't be physically with her, but you can be with her. And how many times we find ourselves in that place that, we don't think that there's a possibility God can be with us, or that we are with each other, that Sister Kathleen, has gone to God, but she's still with us, God journeys with us. And I could be on the phone with, I could say, this is the craziest thing I've ever done. But they were so sweet. This was so sweet too. So I'm on one phone, the interpreter's on the other phone. This young woman is there with the nurse. It was quite unique experience, but we made it work. We made it happen. Yeah. So just, we are not alone in this, and somehow just to help people see that, find those people who don't feel like anybody's with them and let them know you're not alone.
Yep. I want to acknowledge we got some comments. Hello from the Philippines.
Hi, Philippines.
And Gloria from Juarez, Mexico.
Yay.
Welcome. Glad you were with us. This is great. We have another comment.
You get to see it. I don't get to see anything. Well, now I'm all into this.
I'm multitasking right now. I got the computer open. I got this phone right here.
Yeah, see, this is my age showing. I'm a little like, I can handle this.
Like, I can be on this, but
I can do this.
That's
awesome.
Denia, not sure how you pronounce that, but she says, I am so blessed that last year I was able to visit the place at the Rudebach.
Oh, how amazing. Yeah.
It's yes, it is a beautiful, holy place.
Absolutely.
Oh, and Carissa is waving. So
hey, Carissa. Yeah.
Postulant with the Daughters of Charity.
Yay.
Not gonna brag.
Anyone interested, you could join her. Just call Carissa.
Watch Kara's video. Watch Sister Kara's video. Yeah, immediately X this one out and go over to Sister Kara's.
Don't do that. Not yet. Don't go yet. There might be more to come. We don't know. We're just rolling along here.
If you're loving this content of which you're watching right now, you can get more of it by listening to In the Company of Charity podcast.
That's right.
That was a commercial in between.
That was a little commercial. And then when you really want to tell us how awesome we are, don't forget to email us your comments too.
companyofcharity@gmail.com.
That's right. companyofcharity@gmail.com. Yeah. From you.
Yes.
Oh, Sister Liz.
Can I just tell you something really crazy?
Yes, you can.
So this is related to, we have upcoming episodes, right? With some of our Vincentian
priests. I hope we have upcoming episodes, because I don't want this to be the last.
This is a plug for future podcast episodes. Yes. So Father Tomasz, who we mentioned earlier, we are going to interview him and have that recorded and played for everybody. Father Gregory Gay, who is amazing, former Superior General.
And we should say, when we talk about Sister Kathleen Appler and Father Tomasz and Father Greg, these folks, are into these positions that St. Vincent de Paul and St. Louise de Marillac, the founders of our community, held. And so it's so sacred, in some ways. But they are the most, just the most down to earth people, which is very, very cool, that both Father Tomasz and Father Greg were able to share just what that means to be the successor of St. Vincent de Paul. That's kind of crazy, And
to have all these people conspiring against you to vote for you for this position.
You're like, oh, my best friends.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks for that.
And then literally the godfather of Vincentian family involvement on websites and connections, Father John Freund is going to be on. He's a great, great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I had such a good time interviewing him. It was great. So I know everyone is going to enjoy that as well. Just really great conversation with him about technology, about the way the Vincentian family tries to communicate like this experience. So shout out to Father John Freund if he's listening. Just celebrated a birthday. Happy belated birthday to him. Can you tag him or something? Wake him up, say, "Hey, Father John."
I know. Well, I need Claire here.
I don't know. What are we doing?
Claire Meyerhoff, come back to us and help us with this. She would know how to do it.
She would know, right? That's right. That's right.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Sister
so
Elizabeth,
definitely pay attention to the podcast In the Company of Charity.
Yes. Google Play, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
We actually have an app. I don't know if people are familiar with the Daughter of Charity Vocations app.
How could you not be? It's the best app ever.
It's pretty awesome. It lets you know what's going on and all the latest. We have a blog You think we're hip on Facebook? We've also got a blog and a podcast.
We're pretty cool, actually, when you think about it. I mean, we're all there. We got it going.
I think the cool thing is that everybody can contribute to the things that we're doing, because everyone has a story of their call and the spirit that they want to share with people. And
definitely.
So I always tell the sisters, look, you might not do this or that, but find whatever it is that you like and that you're good at, and we'll use it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Photography, quotes, you name it.
Yeah. And just, I just think it's so amazing when you're saying, there's people in Philippines watching, and Carissa's watching, and, and realizing that this great, amazing charism that St. Vincent de Paul and St. Louise left us, this sense of family with lay people as well as consecrated people, young people and older people, St. Vincent de Paul Society, Ladies of Charity, all these different groups that, follow this charism of charity, that it's all about, finding Christ, both in the incarnation, finding Christ incarnate in each person, but also, finding the suffering Christ in those who are poor, and those who live in such vulnerable situations, and that it unites us in a way that's so powerful. And so that's the other, is to be able to use these mediums and these kinds of forums, and to find the gift within yourself that, can contribute to the life of somebody who is struggling, and to see that we're all in this together. And the more we reach out to those who are struggling, the more we bring about the kingdom of God. The more we bring about that which God wanted for us anyways, a place of peace and love and safety. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's amazing. I wonder what Vincent and Louise would have thought of it. Yeah.
I wonder what Vincent Louise think of this right now. These are questions.
I think they'd think it was pretty cool. I think they would have thought email was pretty cool, because they were incredibly prolific writers. I mean, both of them. Vincent, he's got 12 volumes that, in recent years have been translated from,
yeah, we are blessed to have all of that
stuff. Yeah. So I think they would have been emailing like crazy, and then probably moved into text. Can't you imagine Vincent texting Louise, or Louise texting him where are you? Aren't you coming?
What's going on with you?
What's going on with you? Are you home? I didn't see your light on. Because they lived across the street from each other for a while.
That's right.
I could see it. And that's why I think Father Tomas's letter to Sister Kathleen was so beautiful. I think when you think about the end of Vincent and Louise's life, when Louise died, I'm sure that Vincent maybe couldn't always have expressed, but, when they were living, but certainly at her death, you could tell that he was saddened by that. But I think, in today's world, I think they would have been all about technology.
All about telling the stories, and that's why we're
absolutely.
here.
Louise, she would have been texting people in their local communities. Did you buy this? Yeah. Did you do that? I mean, I think so. I think they would have been.
She had a lot of recipes for things. That would be the next podcast episode of recipes by St. Louise.
Not the health remedies. We don't want to be
the bloodletting and the
right.
Okay,
right.
We'll
let that stuff go. We'll let that go. Amazing, really is amazing. Yeah,
it's always good to see you. I always say that, but it never stops being great.
And this time, we're being seen by others as well. Normally we would be cutting out most of this, and they would just hear the very polished words of wisdom.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're glad that you all joined us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for watching. Continue to interact with us. I mean, we love what we do with the podcast and the Company of Charity podcast, but you've got to do your thing, and send us your questions, and hopefully we can address those, and send us your suggestions too. That would be
absolutely great. Yeah, we love talking to people, obviously, and
clearly.
So
we are praying for you. We love you guys.
Absolutely.
We're here for you. Believe me. The Daughters of Charity are out there well enough, as you should know by now, that that we are available to pray for you, especially for your intentions at this time in history. It's not easy, but we are in this together. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but really we are. And
we are, and especially this week of the Passion, to remember those who are suffering maybe more than others during this sense of isolation and the pain of loss, that we're with them in prayer as well, for sure. And just remember, stay safe, stay home, until this passes.
Stay home, save lives, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, signing off, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Sister Liz.
Good night.
This has been In the Company of Charity podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.